All right, let's jump into this world of biomaterials, this stuff that's like completely changing how we think about regenerative medicine, designing living tissues. Sounds like sci-fi, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's really amazing how far we've come. We're harnessing chemistry and engineering basically to help the body heal and regenerate.
Okay, so unpack that a little bit for me. What are biomaterials and how are they different from like the materials we use to build with, like houses and bridges?
Well, you can think of them as substances that are designed to interact with the body in a very specific way. So they're not just inert like you'd think of a typical material. They actively participate in the healing process. It's kind of like providing your body with the tools and the building blocks to actually repair itself.
So it's not just patching things up, it's about actually encouraging the body to regrow and regenerate.
Exactly, yeah. Take hydrogels, for instance. These are incredible materials. They're being used to actually support the growth of new tissues. Imagine something as wobbly as jelly, but with the potential to actually become the foundation for new, healthy tissues.
Hydrogels, okay, that sounds familiar. Is that related to something called the extracellular matrix? I vaguely remember reading about that.
You're exactly right. That's one of the key things that makes hydrogels so effective. They're mimicking the extracellular matrix, which is essentially the natural scaffolding that surrounds all the cells in your body.
So it's like giving the cells a familiar environment to grow in. It's like they're right at home.
Exactly. It provides the right kind of cues and support for cells to attach and grow and multiply, and that's really crucial for tissue regeneration.
This is where it gets exciting for me. It's not just about creating a material. It's about understanding how cells interact with it.
Absolutely. And that leads us to another really crucial area, which is surface modification. So we can actually tweak the surfaces of these biomaterials to make them even more inviting for cells.
It's like rolling out the red carpet for them.
That's a great way to put it, yeah. By modifying the surface, we can encourage what's called cell adhesion and proliferation, which are basically the building blocks of tissue regeneration. And we can control things like the texture, the chemical composition, even the electrical charge of the surface, to really kind of fine-tune how those cells behave.
So it's not just about the material itself, but how you present it to the cells.
Precisely. Think of it like designing a five-star hotel for your cells. We want them to feel comfortable, stick around, and get to work.
This is all starting to sound like something straight out of a science fiction novel, like designing materials to actually orchestrate the body's own repair mechanisms.
It might sound futuristic, but this is the reality of regenerative medicine. It's really pushing the boundaries of what's possible in healthcare.
And biomaterials are at the forefront of it.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a beautiful symphony of disciplines, chemistry, engineering, biology, medicine, all coming together to create solutions that were once considered impossible.
Speaking of pushing boundaries, I've heard whispers about something called advanced scaffolds that are being developed to repair and even replace damaged organs. What's the story there?
Ah, yes, advanced scaffolds are definitely one of the most exciting frontiers. In regenerative medicine, we're talking about creating three-dimensional structures that can guide the growth of new tissues and organs.
So instead of patching things up, we're talking about actually rebuilding damaged organs.
That's the goal, yeah.
And this is where the idea of growing organs from a patient's own cells comes in.
Exactly. The idea is to use the patient's own cells to seed these scaffolds, creating a perfect biological match and minimizing the risk of rejection.
So how far along are we in terms of actually using these advanced scaffolds to repair or replace organs?
Well, it's still early days, but the potential is enormous. Researchers are already using advanced scaffolds to repair damaged cartilage, bone, and even skin.
So it's not just a theoretical concept, it's actually happening.
Exactly. And as our understanding of biomaterials and cell behavior grows, those possibilities will only expand.
Wow. It's mind-blowing to think that one less organ transplantation might become a thing of the past.
That's the dream. Yeah, we may reach a point where we can simply regenerate damaged organs, eliminating the need for transplants altogether.
This is all incredibly exciting. But I am curious about the practical implications. How would these advanced scaffolds actually be delivered to the damaged organ?
That's a great question. There are a few different approaches being explored. In some cases, the scaffold can be implanted directly into the damaged area. In other cases, we might use minimally invasive techniques, like injections, to deliver the cells and biomaterials.
So we're not talking about major invasive surgeries.
Not necessarily. The goal is to develop methods that are as minimally invasive as possible to reduce recovery times and improve patient outcomes.
This is all starting to sound less like science fiction and more like the future of healthcare.
It truly is. It's all thanks to these incredible advancements in biomaterials and regenerative medicine.
So if we're already making strides in repairing damaged organs, What's next? Where do you see this field heading in the future?
Well, one really exciting area is the development of biomaterials. That can not only repair, but also enhance our bodies. So imagine materials that could make our bones stronger, our muscles more resilient, or even enhance our cognitive abilities.
Wow, that takes us even further into the realm of science fiction.
It might sound far-fetched, but the possibilities are truly endless. As we continue to unlock the secrets of biomaterials and cellular interactions, who knows what incredible advancements we'll achieve.
So for our listener out there who might be thinking, okay, this is amazing, but how does it affect me? What's the takeaway message here?
Well, the key takeaway is that biomaterials are revolutionizing healthcare. They're offering hope for people suffering from organ damage or disease. And they have the potential to transform the way we approach healing and regeneration.
It's like giving our bodies the tools they need to heal themselves in ways we never thought possible.
Exactly. And as this field continues to advance, the benefits will only become more profound. We're on the cusp of a new era in healthcare, and biomaterials are leading the charge.
Okay, this has been absolutely mind-blowing so far, but we need to take a quick break. When we come back, let's delve deeper into some specific examples of how biomaterials are being used today and the incredible research that's happening right now.
All right, so let's dive into some real-world applications of this incredible technology.
I'm all ears. Give me some examples that will really, drive this home for our listener.
Okay, so let's start with something I'm sure you've heard of. Hip replacements.
Yeah, those are pretty common these days, especially as people get older.
Exactly. But what you might not know is that biomaterials actually play a crucial role in making those hip replacements successful.
So it's not just about swapping out the old joint for a metal one.
Not quite. The artificial hip joint needs to integrate with the surrounding bone tissue, and that's where biomaterials come in.
Okay, so how does that work?
Well, the surface of the implant can be coated with a biocompatible material, something like hydroxyapatite.
Hydroxy what now?
I know it's a mouthful, but it's basically a mineral that mimics the composition of natural bone.
Ah, so it tricks the body into thinking it's dealing with real bone.
Exactly. This coating encourages bone cells to attach to the implant and grow, forming a strong bond between the artificial joint and the natural bone.
That's amazing. So biomaterials are like the key to making these implants work in the long run.
Absolutely, and that's just one example. Biomaterials are also being used in dental implants, knee replacements, and even in spinal fusion surgeries.
It seems like these materials are revolutionizing orthopedic surgery.
They really are, but it doesn't stop there. Let's move beyond bones and talk about wound healing.
Okay, now that's something that everyone can relate to.
Think about a simple cut on your finger. Your body naturally goes through a complex process to repair that damage.
Right, it clots to stop the bleeding, then it scabs over, and eventually new skin grows.
Precisely. But sometimes wounds can be more challenging to heal, especially for people with chronic conditions like diabetes.
Right. I've heard that diabetic ulcers can be really difficult to treat.
They certainly can be. And that's where biomaterials are proving to be real game changers.
So how are they being used in wound healing?
Well, there are various types of biomaterial-based wound dressings available.
What makes them different from just a regular bandage?
Think of these dressings as more than just a protective barrier. They're designed to actually actively promote healing.
So they're like tiny little medics, working right on the wound.
That's a great analogy. Some dressings contain hydrogels, which we talked about earlier. They keep the wound moist, which is essential for cell growth. And they can even deliver medications directly to the site of injury.
Wow. So they're not just covering the wound, they're actually helping it to heal faster.
Exactly. There are also dressings made from materials like collagen, which is a natural protein found in skin, and adhesion, which is derived from shellfish.
Hold on. Shellfish. That's unexpected.
It might sound strange, but Kyotosin has some incredible wound healing properties. It helps to stop bleeding, it promotes cell growth, it even has antibacterial effects.
Nature is full of surprises, so these dressings are using the power of nature, combined with cutting-edge science, to help our bodies heal.
Precisely. And for our listener out there, if you've ever struggled with a wound that just wouldn't heal, this research offers real hope for faster and more effective treatments.
This is all so fascinating, but I can't help but think back to what we discussed earlier about organ regeneration. That just feels like a much bigger challenge than healing a cut or a bone fracture.
You're absolutely right. Organ regeneration is a whole different ballgame, but the principles are similar. We're essentially trying to provide the right environment and signals for cells to grow and organize themselves into functional tissues.
So what are some of the specific challenges when it comes to organ regeneration?
Well, organs are incredibly complex structures with multiple cell types, intricate architectures, and very specialized functions. Replicating that complexity in the lab is a huge challenge.
I can imagine. It's like trying to rebuild a city from scratch.
That's a great analogy. Yeah, it requires a deep understanding of developmental biology, cell signaling, and of course, biomaterial design.
So it's not just about throwing some cells on a scaffold and hoping for the best.
Definitely not. It's a highly orchestrated process, and we're still figuring out many of the details.
Okay, so where are we seeing the most progress in organ regeneration right now?
One area where we're seeing remarkable advancements is in the field of skin regeneration. Researchers have developed sophisticated skin substitutes that are being used to treat severe burns and chronic wounds.
So for people who have lost large areas of skin, this technology could be life-saving.
Absolutely. These skin substitutes provide a temporary covering that protects the wound and promotes healing. They can even be engineered to contain hair follicles and sweat glands.
Wow, so they're not just replacing skin, they're recreating its functionality.
Exactly. And beyond skin, researchers are also making progress in regenerating other tissues like cartilage, bone, and even blood vessels.
This is really giving me hope for the future of medicine. If we can regenerate simple tissues, is it possible to eventually regenerate entire organs?
That's the ultimate goal. And while it's still a long way off, scientists are making exciting progress.
Can you give us a glimpse into what that research looks like?
Sure. One promising approach involves using decellularized organs as scaffolds.
Decellularized, what does that mean?
It means we take an organ, say a liver or a heart, and we remove all the cells, leaving behind a natural scaffold made of proteins and other biomolecules.
So it's like stripping a building down to its frame.
Exactly. Then we can repopulate that scaffold with the patient's own cells.
And theoretically, those cells could then grow and organize themselves into a functional organ.
That's the idea. It's still very experimental, but there have been some remarkable successes in animal models.
So it's not science fiction. It's a real possibility for the future.
Absolutely. And beyond decellularized organs, scientists are also exploring other approaches, like 3D bioprinting.
3D printing organs. That sounds like something straight out of Star Trek.
It might sound futuristic, but 3D bioprinting is becoming a reality. Researchers are using specialized printers to create three-dimensional structures made of cells and biomaterials.
So they're literally printing organs layer by layer.
That's right. The printer deposits cells and biomaterials in a precise pattern, guided by a computer model.
That's incredible. What kind of organs are they printing?
Well, they've already printed simple tissues like skin and cartilage, and they're working towards more complex organs, like kidneys and livers.
Okay, I have to admit, I'm a little skeptical. It seems like there must be huge challenges in printing a functional organ.
Of course, it's a very complex undertaking. One of the biggest challenges is ensuring that the printed organ has the right vascularization.
Vascularization.
It means a network of blood vessels. Organs need a constant supply of oxygen and nutrients. So we need to ensure that the printed organ has a functional circulatory system.
So it's not just about printing the cells, it's about creating a living, breathing organ.
Exactly, and that's why this research is so cutting edge. It requires expertise in multiple fields, including biomaterials science, cell biology, and engineering.
This is all so mind-blowing. I can't believe we're even having this conversation. It feels like we're talking about the future of humanity.
It really is a remarkable time to be alive. The progress we're making in biomaterials and regenerative medicine is truly transformative.
It feels like we're on the verge of a medical revolution.
We certainly are. And for our listener, it's important to remember that these advancements aren't just happening in a vacuum. They have the potential to impact your life, your health, and the health of your loved ones.
This isn't just science for the sake of science. It's about improving human lives.
Precisely. And as we continue to unlock the secrets of biomaterials and cellular interactions, the possibilities are truly endless.
Okay, this has been an incredible journey so far. We've covered so much ground, from hip replacements to 3D printed organs. When we come back, let's wrap up our deep dive by exploring the ethical considerations and future implications of this revolutionary field. All right, so we've been on quite a journey exploring this amazing world of biomaterials.
From simple wound dressings to the potential for 3D printed organs, the possibilities are pretty mind-boggling.
It's clear this field is moving at an incredible pace. So as we wrap up our deep dive, I think it's important to step back for a second and consider the broader implications of this technology.
Absolutely. Whenever we're talking about such groundbreaking advancements, it's crucial to think about the ethical considerations that come with them.
For example, if we can regenerate organs and even enhance our bodies with biomaterials, what does that mean for access and equity?
That's a very important question. We need to ensure that these life-changing therapies are available to everyone, not just a privileged few. It's a conversation that involves not just scientists and engineers, but also policymakers, ethicists, and society as a whole.
And beyond access, there are also questions about how we define enhancement versus therapy. Where do we draw the line?
That's another crucial consideration. If we can use biomaterials to make our bones stronger or our muscles more resilient, is that still within the realm of medicine? Or are we venturing into the territory of human augmentation?
Yeah, it seems like a slippery slope. If we can enhance our physical abilities, what about enhancing our cognitive abilities? Could we one day see biomaterials being used to boost intelligence or memory?
Those are questions that science fiction has grappled with for decades, and now they're becoming real-world considerations. As scientists, we have a responsibility to engage in these ethical discussions and ensure that our work is used for the betterment of humanity.
And for our listener out there who might be feeling a little overwhelmed by all of this, it's important to remember that you have a voice in this conversation. These are not just hypothetical questions. They're issues that will shape the future of our society.
Exactly. As these technologies become more prevalent, it's crucial that we have open and informed discussions about their implications. We need to decide collectively how we want to use these powerful tools.
So beyond the ethical considerations, I'm also curious about the practical challenges ahead. What are some of the hurdles that researchers still need to overcome?
Well, one of the biggest challenges is scaling up production. Right now, many of these therapies are very expensive and time-consuming to produce. We need to find ways to make them more accessible and affordable for everyone.
And I imagine that safety is also a top priority. Whenever we're introducing new materials into the body, there's always a risk of unintended consequences.
Absolutely. Rigorous testing and long-term monitoring are essential to ensure that these therapies are both safe and effective.
So while there's a lot of excitement surrounding this field, it's important to temper that excitement with a healthy dose of caution.
Exactly. We need to proceed thoughtfully, considering both the potential benefits and the potential risks.
Well, this has been an incredible deep dive into the world of biomaterials. I've learned so much, and I'm sure our listener has too.
It's a field that's constantly evolving, and I'm really excited to see what the future holds.
And for our listener, if you're as intrigued by this as we are, keep exploring, keep learning, and don't be afraid to ask the tough questions. The future of medicine is being shaped right now, and it's up to all of us to ensure that it's a future we can all embrace.
Well said. It's been a pleasure exploring this fascinating topic with you.
Likewise, and to our listeners, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into biomaterials. Until next time, keep those brains curious and those questions coming.